Hello, everyone. He was the smartest guy in the room, a math teacher, logical, calm. He didn't believe in luck, only in numbers. The casino loved people like him. He sat at the blackjack table, eyes sharp, counting silently. The cards flipped like seconds on a clock. He knew the rules, the odds, the system. He thought he was playing the game, but the game was playing him. Every small win whispered to his brain, "You're right." Every loss? Just an exception, a mistake in the algorithm. He didn't see the trap tightening. The lights were bright, the air cold, the music slow and endless. That's how casinos talk to your mind, without saying a word. They don't care how smart you are, they only care how long you stay. Hours later, the math teacher stared at an empty stack of chips. Logic couldn't explain the emptiness in his chest. He still believed he could win it back. He always did. Because the smartest people don't lose for lack of knowledge. They lose because their ego refuses to fold. This isn't a story about cards. It's about the mind, and how even the sharpest one can be broken by the illusion of control. He believed the math would save him. Every move, every bet was calculated. He wasn't like them, the reckless ones chasing luck. He had logic. He had control. But that's the illusion, the one the casino sells best. The illusion that you're smarter than the table, that if you follow the numbers long enough, you'll eventually come out ahead. Blackjack feeds that illusion perfectly. It gives you choices: hit, stand, split, double down. It lets you decide. And every decision feels like power, feels like control. But behind that sense of control lies the same truth. The house always wins, not because it cheats, but because it understands how the human brain works. Psychologists call it the illusion of control, our tendency to believe we can influence outcomes that are truly random. It's the same reason people blow on dice or press the deal button harder, as if pressure or belief could change the odds. Casinos don't fight that illusion, they feed it, they design it. The soft lights, the rhythm of the shuffling cards, the false sense of pattern and chaos. It all whispers, you're in charge. But you never are, because the moment you feel in control, you've already given it away. You're reacting, not thinking. You're chasing a sense of mastery that doesn't exist. And the cruelest part? You don't lose because the math failed you. You lose because you believed you could beat the math. He told himself it was just bad luck, that the cards would turn. They always did. That's the first lie gamblers tell themselves, and smart people tell it best. They call it the gambler's fallacy, the belief that after a streak of losses, a win is due, that probability somehow remembers. But cards don't remember. They don't owe you balance. They don't care how many times you've lost. Still, he washed every hand as if the universe were keeping score. Each loss became a promise, each win a validation. Then comes the confirmation bias, the mind's favorite trick. You remember the moments you were right and erase the times you weren't. It's how confidence grows even while reality collapses. And then the illusion of patterns. He saw meaning where there was none, a rhythm in the shuffle, a pattern in chaos. His brain, desperate for order, invented one. That's what the human mind does best: turn randomness into reason, turn noise into hope. Casinos understand this better than anyone. That's why the cards are dealt slowly, why the lights pulse like a heartbeat, why dealers keep their expressions calm, never revealing that your fate was sealed the moment you sat down. Then there's loss aversion, the fear of losing stronger than the joy of winning. He'd rather play it safe, stand when he should hit, hold back when he should double, because losing hurts more than winning feels good. And so, every bias, every flaw of the human mind becomes another weapon for the house. They don't have to cheat you. You do that yourself. He thought he was beating the system, but the system wasn't in the cards. It was in his head. And that's the cruel truth about blackjack. You never play against the dealer. You play against your own psychology. He started winning again. A few hands, a few lucky streaks, and suddenly the fire returned. This is it, he thought. I've figured it out. That's how overconfidence begins. Not with arrogance, but with reward. Each win whispers, you were right. Each streak says, you've mastered it. And slowly, the brain starts rewriting reality, turning luck into skill and randomness into control. It's a dangerous loop, especially for people who believe in their intelligence. They think, if I can solve problems at work, if I understand systems, then I can understand this game too. But Blackjack isn't about intelligence, it's about emotion, and emotion always cheats reason. Overconfidence blinds you quietly. You stop seeing risk and start seeing opportunity. You convince yourself that small losses are investments, that the next win will make it right. Psychologists call this the Dunning-Kruger effect, when knowledge gives you just enough confidence to overestimate your ability. You know some, so you think you know enough. Casinos love overconfidence. They design for it. The cheers from the next table, the dealer's polite smile, the little wins that keep you seated just long enough to lose big. It's not manipulation, it's psychology at scale. And when the fall comes, it's never sudden, it's slow. Hand after hand, chip after chip, you tell yourself, I can win it back. But overconfidence doesn't collapse all at once. It fades, leaving behind silence and an empty wallet. In the end, he wasn't ruined by bad luck. He was ruined by belief. The belief that he was smarter than chance, that he could predict the unpredictable. And that's how Blackjack breaks people, not with loss, but with hope disguised as skill. At first, he still believed he could manage it. He told himself it was just variance, a bad night, a few unlucky cards. But something had changed. His breathing got shorter. His hands moved faster. The calm calculation that once guided him was gone. He was tilting. In gambling, tilt is more than anger. It's the state where emotion hijacks reason, where logic drowns under adrenaline and every bet becomes revenge. He wasn't playing blackjack anymore. He was fighting it. Each card felt personal. Each loss felt like an insult. That's the moment the game flips. Not because the rules change, but because you do. Emotion turns decisions into reactions. You stop thinking about odds. You start chasing feelings, desperation, frustration, pride. The table becomes a mirror, and what you see staring back isn't the dealer, it's yourself. Casinos are built for this state. The music gets louder, the lights seem warmer, the chips feel lighter in your hand. Everything tells you, don't stop now. But that's the trap. The more emotional you get, the less capable you are of seeing clearly. It's not about winning anymore. It's about fixing something inside you, something broken that you keep feeding with risk. That's what psychologists call emotional regulation failure. Your brain stops processing loss logically and starts processing it emotionally. Every loss hurts like betrayal, and every win feels like redemption. He played faster, harder, bigger, until logic was gone and instinct, that raw, dangerous part of the mind, took over. That's the real addiction, not the cards, not the money, but the feeling of almost winning, the rush of being so close, of believing the next hand could make it right. But emotion never fixes what emotion breaks. It only deepens the crack. And when the final hand came, he didn't even look surprised, just empty. Because deep down, he knew the truth all along. He wasn't chasing money. He was chasing control. In 2011, a man named Don Johnson walked into Atlantic City and did what most thought impossible. He beat the casinos. Not once, not twice, but 3 times. He won nearly $15 million playing blackjack. No cheating, no team, just math, negotiation, and nerve. The media called him the man who broke the house. Casinos banned him, then studied him. Players worshipped him. They thought he'd found the secret, a way to beat the unbeatable. But what they didn't see was what came after. Dozens tried to copy him. Some even mortgaged their homes, convinced they could do it smarter. They didn't have his discipline, his control, his cold detachment from emotion. Most lost everything. That's the curse of stories like his. They feed the fantasy that someone can outsmart the system, that if you study hard enough, play long enough, believe deep enough, you can win. But for every Don Johnson, there are thousands whose names you'll never hear. People who believed the same myth and paid the price quietly. Because blackjack isn't about cards or math, it's about psychology, and the human brain is the weakest player at the table. Even Johnson himself admitted later, it's not a game you can win forever. The moment you think you've mastered it, you've already lost. That's the real case, the real warning. The ones who win don't inspire the game, they sustain it. He thought intelligence would protect him. That logic could guard him from chaos, that numbers would never lie. But the casino doesn't play with numbers, it plays with people. Intelligence gives you tools, but emotion decides how you use them. And inside the casino, emotion always wins. That's the paradox. The smarter you are, the more you believe you're immune. You see patterns, systems, opportunities, but you don't see the trap built exactly for that kind of mind. Casinos don't want the foolish, they want the confident, the rational, the ones who think they're too smart to fall. Because intelligence creates ego, and ego blinds faster than greed. Every chip you place isn't a test of luck, it's a test of restraint, a test of how well you understand yourself when logic starts to lose its voice. He realized too late, blackjack was never about beating the house, it was about surviving himself. And maybe that's the real truth of the game. The house edge isn't in the math, it's in the mind. The casino doesn't need to take your money, it just needs you to keep playing, to believe you're one move away, to feel smart enough, to stay in the game a little longer. In the end, the most dangerous player isn't the one who knows too little, but the one who thinks he knows enough. Because in the casino, intelligence isn't your weapon, it's your weakness. In the end, every gambler tells themselves the same lie, that they can stop whenever they want. But no one ever really walks away clean. Not from a place built to feel like home. Not from a game that whispers your name every time you close your eyes. Blackjack was never about cards or odds or luck. It was about control, and how easily we lose it when we think we have it. Some call it addiction, others call it entertainment. But behind every flashing light, behind every win, there's a quiet truth waiting to be heard. The house doesn't need to beat you, you'll do it yourself. So the next time you sit down at the table, remember, the real game isn't between you and the dealer, it's between you and your own mind.